Wondering how your retirement savings stacks up compared to other Americans? How are you doing? How much you should have saved for retirement? In this video, I'm going to talk about a general rule about how much you should save, where you should be at age 40, age 50, and age 60. How much you should have saved by those ages. And of course, this is a general guideline. It varies a lot depending on what your expenses are, what your lifestyle is, what age you want to retire, what part of the country you live in, whether you're taking care of loved ones in retirement, what your retirement looks like. But these are just general retirement guidelines, how much you should have saved. So how much do you need to have saved by retirement? These are the financial targets that financial planners outline generally. You should have, by age 40, 3 times your annual income. So if you're 40 and you're making $70,000 a year, 70,000 times 3, $210,000 is what you should have in your portfolio. We're not counting Social Security or any kind of other income, just your expected, your savings now, $210,000. And that goes up the older you get, because the more time you have to let that savings accumulate, the less you need. So as at age 40, it's 3x. Age 50, that jumps up to 6x your annual income. So if you're making $80,000 a year times 6, $480,000 is how much you should have saved in your retirement portfolio by age 50. By age 60, how much you need to retire is 8 times your annual income. So if you're 60, you're making $90,000 a year times 8, that's $720,000 by age 60. So general guidelines. What if you are in your 20s or in your 30s? There's a debate among financial planners on whether you should not save a whole lot and just focus on experiences, having fun, getting work experience, getting internships, not taking jobs for the money, but for the experience and the connections. And then there's another camp that says, well, when you're in your 20s and 30s, that's the time you should save as much as possible because you have a lot of time to let it compound. I'm on the camp that says you should let it compound because that compounding effect over decades really, really adds up. Which one are you in? If you have an opinion, I'd love to hear it down below. 20s and 30s are for fun and experience, or 20s and 30s are for just saving as much as you can. So those are the general guidelines. So how do you measure up? How do Americans measure up? Unfortunately, most Americans are way behind the recommended savings. The median retirement balance for ages 35 to 40 is only $73,000. That's well below the $210,000 benchmark that I just mentioned. It's about a third actually, and that doesn't change as people get older. For ages 45 to 54, the median is $120,000 compared to our $480,000 target. And for Americans 55 to 64, just right before the retirement age, their savings is only $171,000 compared to the target of $720,000. So there is indeed a retirement crisis in America because people are not saving enough. And I understand, I get it. Inflation has been terrible the last few years. The prices and the cost of everything has gone up. It makes it harder and harder to save when the wages aren't going up as quickly. So that's why people are so far behind saving. And a lot of people are counting on Social Security. A reminder that Social Security, according to the Social Security Administration, says that you should only count on 40% of your retirement income. So the Social Security Administration said, quote, Social Security benefits are intended to replace about 40% of a worker's pre-retirement income. This is based on the average earner receiving a benefit that equals about 40% of their indexed monthly earnings. So that means that if you have $50,000 in pre-retirement income, you should expect about $20,000 a year in Social Security. And of course that helps, of course, every little bit helps, but that you're still far off from what you should have saved up. So don't rely on Social Security, especially with all of the changes that are coming to Social Security to make it more solvent. The Social Security Administration has also said that by the year 2032, they expect to only be able to pay out 80% of the current benefit. So if you're expecting 40%, then you're going to get even less than that because they are running out of money. So also keep in mind that this is an average. the 40%. It depends on how long you work, how much you pay in, how long you have a taxable income. You could be earning less than that if you didn't work for a lot of years. Maybe you took work off for 10 years to have a family, or you worked in a job where you didn't have a lot of Social Security paid out, or a very low paying job for a few years, and then you went to a higher paying job. It's all averaged, and it could be less than 40. You can go on the Social Security website to calculate how much you should expect coming to you in retirement. So what does this mean for your retirement? If you're one of the people that are behind, which statistically you probably are, and if you're not, then great, congratulations. But what can you do if you're behind, even if you're in your 50s or in your 60s? Well, a few things. One, you can start doing extra jobs to earn money to save for retirement, or even if you're very close to or in retirement, you can do jobs in retirement or partially retire. I made a whole video about how to make money in retirement as a side job, and I'll link down below. Increase your 401k or your IRA contributions up to the max, and use that catch-up contribution that you can make over age 50. Reevaluate your asset allocation to make sure that you're positioned for better growth and not in super conservative investments in your 40s and 50s. And then lastly, and this is the one that people don't like to hear, cut back on your spending as much as possible. That has two benefits. One, it reduces the amount that you're spending, which increases the amount that you can put into savings to compound over time. And then also a lower spending rate means you need less in retirement. So focus first primarily on cutting your savings. And don't be one of those Americans that gets to retirement and doesn't have any money and has to rely on Social Security, because that's not what you want. If you want to calculate how much you'll need in retirement more specifically, then go over to morningdwnld.com. We've got a retirement calculator that's pretty comprehensive that can walk you through how much you need. And I also made a video on how to retire in 10 years or less that will pop up here. For those that have 10 years to plan, you can do it. You can stabilize your retirement and beef up your portfolio to have a very good and comfortable retirement in 10 years or less. So check out that video next. Thanks for watching.